Aryna Sabalenka opened Instagram early on April 3, 2026, and browsed over her page, anticipating the typical mix of sponsorship notifications, match highlights, and fan greetings. She stopped mid-swipe, though, after seeing one post. The world number one had just surpassed 5 million followers with her brilliant double victory at Indian Wells and Miami, something that only 5 women in history had ever accomplished. She had surpassed Maria Sharapova and was getting closer to Serena Williams' social media history to become the most followed active female tennis player. On paper, it was a significant achievement that solidified her supremacy on and off the court. However, the data from Linz, Austria, revealed a completely different picture. The small city of only 200,000 people had drawn an estimated 45,000 Filipino fans, not for Sabalenka or the tournament itself, but for 20-year-old Alex Eala. Fans from all over the world were enthralled with Eala, who was ranked 45th in the world, had never won a Grand Slam, and had recently fallen from number 29 following a devastating defeat to Karolina Muchova. With a stadium that could hardly hold a small portion of the people who had traveled hundreds or even thousands of miles to witness the young Filipina perform, a sea of Philippine flags fluttering, and Laban Alex's thunderous chanting resonating through the city streets, Sabalenka watched the clip in shock. The world number one faced an unsettling reality for the first time in her career. Power in tennis wasn't limited to titles, rankings, or social media influence. It was about resonance, connection, and the capacity to unite people and inspire a country in a way that numbers could never really express. There was no denying the numbers. Eala had a phenomenon that transformed a little Austrian community into the hub of Filipino pride and enthusiasm, while Sabalenka had 5 million followers. For the first time, Sabalenka experienced what it was like to be the center of attention, not on the court, but in the hearts and minds of tennis fans worldwide. With just over 7 million Instagram followers, Aryna Sabalenka was quickly catching up to the legends who came before her. She was the queen of WTA popularity by every conventional measure. Her domination on social media wasn't an accident. Her greatest tennis years, 8 Grand Slam finals, 4 titles, and a streak of match-winning performances that had made her a household name served as the foundation for her success. Her engagement to Oakberry CEO Georgios Frangoulis brought in more than $1 million off the court. 2 million likes, and her popular dancing videos and behind-the-scenes looks at her life made her relatable to followers all around the world. Her brand was strengthened by meticulously calibrating each post, story, and TikTok. However, no analytics dashboard could convey the tale of what was happening in Austria. For the Upper Austria Ladies Linz Open, an estimated 45,000 Filipino fans flocked to Linz, a city with a population of little over 200,000. The streets were crowded with flags and supporters shouting, "Laban Alex!" Hotels and restaurants were full. Everywhere a direct flight could take them, including Germany, Switzerland, Italy, the United Kingdom, and Vienna, they had traveled. The audience outside had grown to almost 3 times the tournament's capacity of just over 5,000. It was a startling contrast. On the one hand, Sabalenka's 7 million followers on a screen indicated reach rather than presence. In contrast, 45,000 people were physically there at Alex Eala's event, screaming, waving, and experiencing her fandom in real time. Digital influence was one. The other was unadulterated, physical devotion. Sabalenka's fan base increased from 3 in less than 6 months. 8 million to 7 million, the fastest growth of any touring WTA player. Her ascent was a masterclass in contemporary athlete branding, calculated, methodical, and smart. However, no algorithm could have foreseen Alex Eala's rise to prominence as a cultural phenomenon and a force that transformed a little Austrian community into a festival of Filipino pride. Yes, numbers were important, but connection, presence, and passion? That was a whole other matter. Why would 45,000 fans go to a city with a population of just over 200,000, packing hotels, restaurants, and streets to capacity? Why are there more Laban Alex chants in the crowd than at any stage during a game? Alex Eala is more than just a player, which is a straightforward yet meaningful response. She is a living link for a diaspora across continents and a symbol of opportunity. For Filipino fans, watching her compete is about more than simply tennis. It's about representation and pride in one's identity. Yes, Sabalenka has a huge social media following, which is based on strategy, charm, and appeal to a wide audience. However, in the end, it is digital, a compilation of screens, likes, and comments. Eala has a strong, tangible, and passionate fan base. It travels through airports, packs hotels, and turns Linz's typically peaceful clay court into a spectacle that seems more like a Davis Cup final than a WTA 500 competition. Both referees and seasoned pundits have been astounded by the distinction. One referee said that the arena feels like a Davis Cup site when players are from nations like the Philippines. Not just for a single player, but for their nation. No Instagram follower can match that distinction. Sabalenka is a victor. Eala is a movement. From Miami's retail frenzy to Dubai's ticket increases, the Eala effect has been discussed in headlines and whispers for months. However, Austria has made it indisputable. This is a phenomenon, not just hype. A 20-year-old who is rated 45th in the world is redefining what it means to attract spectators, have an impact on a competition, and go beyond the realm of sports. Furthermore, nothing can fully convey the unadulterated passion, zeal, and dedication that follow her throughout the world, even though social media measures can track popularity. For a WTA 500 tournament, why are tens of thousands of spectators prepared to travel to a small Austrian city? For the opportunity to witness a 20-year-old who has never won a Grand Slam, why are they prepared to spend thousands of dollars on travel and lodging, take time off work, and completely reorganize their lives? As marketing gurus have pointed out, connection is the solution. Alex Eala is more than just a tennis player to the Filipino diaspora. She is an example of what is achievable. She is evidence that a young girl from Manila can become well known on the largest stages in the world. She is a living example of the OFW dream, which holds that hard effort, sacrifice, and persistence may result in remarkable things. The diaspora, which includes nurses in Dubai, engineers in California, and carers in Canada, adds millions to the country's population of nearly 115 million. This enormous international community lacked a tennis player of their own for decades. They have Eala now. On the Nothing Major podcast, John Isner succinctly stated, "It's a huge market." I believe many people misjudged the size of that market. On the women's side of the game, they have a star at last. She's doing what no other player is doing, Johnson continued. She is attracting new tennis enthusiasts. The ranking methodology doesn't measure the importance of the country she is inspiring. The former coach of Roger Federer, Paul Annacone, has emphasized what makes Eala unique. He remarked, "She has a smile that lights up a room." However, I always find the fan stuff entertaining since the supporters of players from lesser nations are so enthusiastic when they succeed. And that enthusiasm is palpable. The Eala effect is a real-world force that has spread from Miami to Dubai and now Linz. It is more than simply a social media fad or a marketing talking point. Every game turns into a celebration of identity and representation, with stadiums swelling, flags waving, and chanting filling the air. No rating, no sponsorship agreement, and no tournament promotion can create this kind of relationship. It has compelled the WTA, tournament directors, and the tennis community worldwide to reconsider what a star actually is. It is organic, emotive, and revolutionary. In Austria, that enthusiasm is evident. Not only are the crowd applauding, but they are also putting on a show with flags waving and Laban Alex chanting. Echo through the streets, and enthusiasm appears to permeate every area of Linz. Nevertheless, Aryna Sabalenka's response was measured when she learned that 45,000 fans would be flocking to this tiny Austrian city. She stated, "It's great to see so many fans coming to support women's tennis," in a brief statement sent by her management team. "I admire Alex's enormous fan base." However, some close to Sabalenka claim that the figures have made an impression. She has won Grand Slams, developed her brand, and risen to the top for years. Only a few women in tennis history have achieved the Sunshine Double, which she recently accomplished. She has more Instagram followers than any active WTA player, at 5 million. However, a player who has never won a Grand Slam and who just slipped from number 29 following a devastating defeat to Karolina Muchova is attracting audiences that Sabalenka can only imagine. The tennis community has noticed the sharp contrast. On the Nothing Major podcast, Michael Query asked if higher-ranked players could become envious of such fame. John Isner said, "I don't think there's any jealousy," nonchalantly dismissing the notion. "It's a component of the game." However, those who have followed Sabalenka's career are aware of her fierce competitiveness. She aspires to be the best in everything, including titles, rankings, and maybe even the hearts of her followers. Sabalenka is unable to overlook the fact that Eala's fanbase is growing, while she herself finds it difficult to fill stadiums for competitions in which Eala isn't even participating. She is being attacked where it matters, in recognition and resonance rather than points or awards, by the conflict between meritocracy and public appeal. Her annoyance has occasionally erupted in public. According to insiders, she has secretly wondered how a player with less honors, less experience, and a lower position could command such devotion. However, Sabalenka's perseverance and intensity have always fueled her on-court comebacks. Mastering the sport's new environment, where personality, influence, and cultural ties are valued in addition to conventional measures, is now a separate problem. In Linz, Sabalenka is confronted not just with a competition, but also with a reminder that the game has evolved as Alex Eala gets ready to make her clay season debut. One narrative is conveyed by the stats, rankings, titles, and followers. The crowded stands, filled with Filipino supporters waving flags and yelling, convey another message. For Sabalenka, understanding a phenomenon that she is unable to outplay is more important than merely winning matches. Something far more potent than any figure. No ranking point or seed can adequately convey the electrifying intensity that permeates Linz. Every Laban shout, every chant, and every Filipino flag waving from the stands reverberates not just in the arena but also on social media, in news broadcasts, and in people's emotions all across the world. It serves as a reminder that tennis is a platform for representation, identity, and connection rather than just a point-based game. Eala is more than just a competitor here, despite her modest clay record of 3 victories in 10 matches at tour-level events and no deep runs at big tournaments. For a whole diaspora that has long yearned for recognition in professional tennis, she is a movement, a symbol, and a lighthouse. Even if her opponents have more clay court experience, trophies, and honors, they don't have a fan base that is personally invested in every shot they make. Unlike any other, this is the Linz Open. Thousands of people watch her every serve and baseline rally, seeing themselves reflected in her journey. For Eala, the fundamental requirements of clay tennis, patience, tactical awareness, and mental toughness, are put to the test. However, it is also a test of composure in the face of unheard-of public expectations. She has expressed that she feels the burden of a country on her shoulders, and that burden is now greater. Every point and set she scores throughout the matches will have an impact not just on her ranking but also on the Philippines and the Filipino diaspora around the world. She may move back into the top 30 with a semi-final result, reach a career-high 26 with a runner-up, and change her trajectory by reaching 23 with a title run. Beyond numbers, though, Eala has already accomplished something that no ranking can measure. She has sparked a movement, demonstrating that in tennis, community, passion, and identity are just as important as prizes. Thus, Alex Eala enters the court with more than just a racket as the design center Linz comes alive with drums, chanting, and unyielding intensity. She embodies the aspirations of a country, the pride of a diaspora, and the unmistakable power of the Eala effect, a phenomena that surpasses rankings and statistics and serves as a reminder to the globe that sometimes the greatest victory scoreboard can be found. Success on the scoreboard and success in the hearts of supporters are inextricably linked. Although Sabalenka has mastered the WTA #1 position, Instagram milestones, and previous Grand Slam championships, the Eala phenomena reveals a new aspect of power in contemporary tennis: cultural resonance. Although Sabalenka is capable of dominating matches, she is unable to match Eala's tangible, visceral connection, which transforms a WTA 500 clay court in Linz into a celebration of patriotism. Every game is more than just a competition to Eala. It's a platform where her community is represented. Thousands of people have traveled across continents to watch every serve, every rally, every resilient moment. No algorithm can measure the 45,000 spectators cheering her name, the viral videos going viral all over the world, or the motivation she gives to young athletes who finally envision themselves in professional tennis, even though the ranking system may undervalue her performance. Eala is winning people over, but Sabalenka might prevail. Additionally, both types of achievement are important in the WTA's changing environment. This serves as a reminder to the organization, sponsors, and the international tennis community that a player's value cannot be determined just by stats. Alex Eala has shown herself to be a master of influence, representation, and fan base mobilization, all of which are equally valuable. The story of 2026 is no longer solely about titles and rankings as Linz fills with cheers and Filipino flags and the clay season approaches. It is about identity, connection, and the indisputable fact that, when played well, tennis can inspire others outside of the court. It's a lesson in perspective for Aryna Sabalenka. For Alex Eala, it's an opportunity to get up, play, and keep redefining what it means to be a champion. If you would like, I can go on and provide a detailed account of Eala's first-round match in Linz, highlighting the crowd's enthusiasm, her play under duress, and the contrast with Sabalenka's online fame. Make the narrative immersive and cinematic? Would you like me to do that? The one item that not even the world's most powerful person can purchase? Genuine devotion. With 4 Grand Slam victories under her belt, a record-breaking 5 million Instagram followers, and a recent Sunshine double, Aryna Sabalenka is the dominant player in women's tennis. She is untouchable by all conventional standards. However, the situation is different in Linz, Austria. For Alex Eala's clay season debut, some 45,000 Filipino supporters have flocked to the city. They are not here for Sabalenka. With popularity, commitment, and cultural ties surpassing even the current champion of the sport, the Eala effect, discussed for months by former pros like Sam Querrey, John Isner, and Steve Johnson, is clearly visible. While Eala's 45,000 admirers crowd the streets, sing her name, and carry her banners across the city, Sabalenka's 5 million followers are visible on a screen. Eala has never won a Grand Slam and is now ranked 45th in the world. She recently dropped from number 29 after losing to Karolina Muchova at the Miami Open. For the fans who have traveled thousands of miles to see her, rankings, records, and statistics are meaningless. They identify with her journey, her sacrifices, and the aspirations of a country without a tennis legend. In the minds of these followers, Sabalenka is competing for second place even though she has the awards, the rankings, and the international attention. Unadulterated, unrepentant, and unquantifiable by any leaderboard, Alex Eala embodies the love of a country. What are your thoughts on the 45,000 supporters of Alex Eala who travel to Austria? Every day is match day at Rally Radar, so please share your thoughts in the comments section below and remember to subscribe for daily WTA news, match breakdowns, and stories that go much beyond the score.